Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we'll be doing a Game Week 13 team review, as well as revealing our plans for Game Week 14 and how we plan to pivot from Game Week 14 to Game Week 16. However, before we do, please remember to hit the like button, smash that subscribe button. We'll really appreciate it as we are trying to grow this channel and it will support the YouTube algorithm. Also feel free to follow us on Twitter at FPL_A+ and join our FPL mini league. So how did the team do in Game Week 13? Starting at the back in goal, Danny Ward was as solid as always, carrying on his great recent run of form with a brilliant 8-point score. Hence, Crystal Palace failed to keep a clean sheet again and Anderson scored a solitary point. Kieran Trippier was quite lively and involved in all the action. However, Newcastle failed to keep a clean sheet against Tottenham Hotspur and he managed 2 points. Castagna was the hero of the game week as he managed 3 bonus points, including a clean sheet for a whopping 12-point score. Wilfred Zaha blanked for another solitary point. Mo Salah disappointed against Nottingham Forest and blanked for a 2-point score. Phil Foden never started, came off the bench and only scored 1 point. Gabriel Martinelli blanked as well for a 2-point score. Front, our strikers did quite well with Mitrovic scoring again with a 6-point score and Harry Kane scoring a goal as well as claiming 2 bonus points. Erling Haaland was in peak performance again with 2 goals, scoring 13 points, which was the equivalent of 26 points as our captain. All in all, this resulted in our team scoring a huge 69-point score in a game week where there was quite low scores. This was 18 points higher than the average of 51 points. This resulted in a massive green arrow as we halved our ranking from previously around 51,000 to 23,389. All in all, we're quite happy with our strategy thus far in terms of mixing risk with occasional punts and ensuring that we are climbing up the ranks as we are planning our strategy. So please subscribe and follow us and share in the green arrows. This is the latest FPLA Super League standings. In first place, we have got Muhammad Osman with 801 points. Well done, Muhammad. In second place, we've got yours truly chasing down Muhammad. In third place, we've got Arnav Garg. Fourth place, we've got Jamie Duncan. Fifth place, we've got Dennis Kuswanda. Sixth place goes to Sanusi Adetunji. In sixth place jointly, we've got also Mrs. FPLA+. In eighth place, we've got our former leader, Shazad Ahmed, who had a disappointing game week. Come on Shazad, I'm sure you will be up there again soon. In ninth place, we have got Jonathan FPL Jonas. And then in 10th place, wrapping up the top 10, we've got Pedro Azevedo. Well done to everybody that's made it into the FPLA Plus top 10. Those that are not yet there, keep on pushing and you will get your turn. These are currently the players on our watch list. The first player that we have got is Bukayo Saka, who only at 7.9 million. Looking at the fixtures, Nottingham Forest, Chelsea will be possibly a bit of a tough game, but then Wolves as well. He's definitely a player who will be highly sought after for game week 14 and going forward. And then we've got Almiron, who has been probably the best value player during this season at only 5.4 million. He's in the form of his life, has scored 5 goals in 5 matches. Unbelievable performance after prior year and previously not scoring as many goals. He's definitely turned his season around and he's turning into quite a quality striker. He's looking at his fixtures, he plays against Aston Villa, Southampton and then Chelsea. I'd say the first two could be definitely huge opportunities for him to carry on and add to that goal tally. Then we've got Ivan Toney, disappointed a bit in the last match. However, he is known to perform better at home, and he's got a home fixture coming up against Wolves, and thereafter playing Nottingham Forest. Definitely would also be up for grabs in terms of a sought after striker. Then we've got João Cancelo at 7.4 million. He's definitely earning the value with lots of attacking returns. Also disappointed the last game week. However, just look at those fixtures: Leicester, then Fulham and Brentford. Those are quite tasty fixtures for some attacking returns. So keep an eye out for João Cancelo. And then if you're looking for a punt, someone who scored in the last match, Calvin Lewin, he's back, and he'll be trying to prove the selectors for the England team that he would like to reclaim his spot for England. And at 7.9 million, he's quite good value, and his fixtures are probably the best of the lot. If you're looking at it, Fulham next, then Leicester, and then Bournemouth. He could potentially score in any of those, if not all of those matches. However, he is known to be injury prone, and he is only back recently. So if you are looking for a punt, just keep that in mind as well. What are the options that we are considering for game week 14? We've got 3 transfer plan options. The first transfer plan option that we are considering is to bring in Bukayo Saka. And in order to bring in Bukayo Saka, the spot that we will be transferring out is Wilfried Zaha. However, because Bukayo Saka's price is higher than Wilfried Zaha, and we don't have enough funds in the bank, we'll need to downgrade. So we could potentially downgrade our goalkeeper, Nick Pope, to someone like Raya. The other option that we are considering is to attack game week 14 with Ivan Toney, with his 2 fixtures that he has got against Wolves and Nottingham Forest. In order to do so, we would need to let go of Mitrovic. Mitrovic is not flagged on official FPL. However, we have left a flag in there as he was a bit gingerly after the first half, and many people thought he was going to come off in game week 13. However, he carried on. So please be on the lookout for early team news and press conferences if anything is mentioned about Mitrovic potentially being injured. However, that's not the reason why we are transferring him out for Toney. If he is injured, it will probably make this decision a bit easier. However, Alexander Mitrovic on his day can be a world-class striker. So this is quite a tricky decision if we are removing someone like Mitrovic. However, if you look at his fixtures, he plays Manchester City next after Everton and then Manchester United. However, Mitrovic is one of those players that can score against anybody. You could say he is almost fixture proof. However, fixtures are often king, and we prefer to play the fixtures as that gives us a higher upside. So this is plan 1 and plan 2. Other plan that we are considering without taking a hit is Wilfried Zaha directly to Almiron, and this is in order to free up funds so that we can potentially upgrade in the next game week one of our defenders to someone like João Cancelo, as he has got quite a huge ceiling in terms of attacking potential. Okay, so on screen here we've got option plan number 1, option plan number 2 for game week 14. So firstly, for plan number 1, on the left hand side we've got Zaha and Toney, which is the main difference compared to plan number 2 on the right hand side, which has got Saka and Mitrovic. So the transfers for plan number 1 on the left hand side is Mitrovic to Toney. As you can see, Toney's got quite a decent fixture against Wolves, and that's in order to getting in ahead of the next fixture as well, where he's also got quite a good fixture on paper. However, because Toney is a bit more costly than Mitrovic, we didn't have enough funds in the bank and we needed to downgrade somewhere, and the area that we are downgrading is Pope to Raya. and that's because Raya plays Wolves. So that should hopefully be a clean sheet banker. However, please note that Brentford has been a bit hot and cold, so this position could be anybody else in that price bracket. Okay, then if we look at player number 2, the change in position is Zaha to Saka, and that is in order to capitalize on Saka's fixture against Nottingham Forest. That could be quite a good fixture for Arsenal. And similarly, we did not have enough funds in the bank to make that transfer in one transfer, hence we needed to downgrade elsewhere. And similarly, we downgraded Pope to Raya, and again, just to reiterate, this could be anybody else in that price bracket. Okay, so let's see what does this look like in Game Week 15. So in Game Week 15, player number 1, this team will be rolling, and that's because Tony plays Nottingham Forest, Zaha plays West Ham, and then in the next game week he's got quite a good fixture, so it makes sense to actually hold on to him. However, looking at player number 2, we've got a change, and the move is to transfer out Mitrovic as he plays Manchester City. Does not mean that Mitrovic cannot score, as on his day he can be very clinical as one of the top strikers in the Premier League this year. However, you don't expect him to haul, and if you're looking for more upside, then somebody like Scamacca, who's got a decent 2 fixtures, could come in quite handy. So the difference in these two teams, Saka and Scamacca versus Zaha and Tony. Let's move to Game Week 16. So in Game Week 16, we have got 2 free transfers for player number 1. As you can see, there's no cost. We roll the transfer, so we've got a luxury move that we could make. Tony plays against Manchester City. Similarly to the previous week for Mitrovic, you don't expect Tony to haul against Manchester City. So you look at where is the opportunity, and the opportunity could be up front. Somebody like Martial. Please note that this is just a placeholder. Martial is currently injured. However, this could be anybody in that price bracket. Scamacca is exactly the same price at this stage. If Martial is back and he starts by that time, then he could definitely be a viable option, and you could actually even potentially say that Martial could be rated higher than Scamacca, as Manchester United mostly you would expect to score more goals than West Ham. In order to fund Tony to, not to fund, however, because you've got a free transfer, and because this is the last game week before the World Cup, when there is going to be unlimited transfers during the World Cup break, so it's a use it or lose it rule. You might as well use your free transfer, and Raya plays against Manchester City, so why not improve your goalkeeper and bring somebody like Ramsdale that plays Wolves, which on paper should hopefully be a clean sheet banker. And then if you're looking at plan number 2, similarly, in this particular case we don't have 2 transfers, we've got 1 free transfer. We're happy with Saka, happy with Scamacca. Their fixtures are looking quite good. The goalkeeping position is one where we can improve, and the move that we are making is Raya to Pickford, and Pickford plays against Bournemouth. So that should be a relatively straightforward match, and hopefully Everton keep a clean sheet over there. So in a nutshell, you basically got 3 main differences to these 2 teams. The first one is Zaha and Martial versus Saka and Scamacca, and then you've got the goalkeeping position that is also slightly different due to the availability of funds. Let me know down in the description below what you believe is the most optimal team. Is it plan number 1 on the left hand side that's got Zaha, or is it plan number 2 on the right hand side that has got Saka? Before we wrap up the options, there is another option also to consider, and that is option number 3. So let's just go back to Game Week 14. So in this plan we bring in Almiron, in taking out Zaha, The reason for this is not specifically for this game week, but it's in order to maximize on another position that we would like to bring a player in, and this is to free up funds in advance for that move instead of taking a hit in this game week. So in this particular case there's no hits, whereas in plan number 2, like we saw earlier, this is at a cost of -4. Okay, what we do in game week 15, and this is the main reason why we brought in Almiron. We intending to upgrade our defense from Doherty to Cancelo. Doherty plays against Liverpool, Cancelo plays against Fulham, and Cancelo on his day can be an extremely attacking fullback and is quite highly owned and can rack up the points. And then in order to fund that, we need to downgrade somewhere at this stage, because Mitrovic is playing against Manchester City. Why not bring in someone like Edouard? There's not many players in his price bracket, so if he carries on playing regularly, he seems to be on form. He could possibly have quite a decent points potential. Okay, so that's for game week 15. If we're looking at game week 16, so game week 16, this is again, we've got a free transfer. We might as well use it, otherwise lose it. And if we look at where we could upgrade our defense. And if we are going to start Ward, then we could upgrade our goalkeeper, our defender from Castagna to Gabriel. Arsenal have got quite a good fixture against, if you look at Arsenal's fixture, it is against Wolves, so you'd expect that to be a clean sheet banker. So if you look at the main differences between this team and the team on the right hand side, which is plan number 2, is that this team has got Saka in plan number 2, whereas plan number 1 has got Gabriel, and then plan number 3 has got Cancelo in versus Patterson in plan number 2. Another option that you could also consider is, instead of swapping out Castagna, you could play Castagna and you could swap out Nick Pope and bring in Nick Pope for someone like Ramsdale. That could also work. It would also mean a Leicester Arsenal combination that you would be playing. So that's it basically for the 3 plans that we have got. Please comment down in the description which plan do you prefer. Plan number 1 that includes Zaha, plan number 2 that includes Saka, or plan number 3 that includes Almiron. Okay, so this is how our Game Week 14 team at this stage is likely to line up. Please note that this is not confirmed. We will be confirming our team closer to the deadline, taking into account team news, press conferences, team developments, etc. So please stay tuned in order to assess what the best options are. And if you would like to follow our team, follow us on Twitter at FPL_A+. So the team is as follows. In goal, we've got David Raya. In defense, we've got Kieran Trippier, as well as Matt Doherty and Anderson from Crystal Palace. In midfield, we've got Wilfried Zaha, Mo Salah, Phil Foden and Gabriel Martinelli. Up front, our forwards, we've got Ivan Toney, Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. This utilizes the full budget of the team at 103.6 million with 0 in the bank. The players that are currently still under consideration that could potentially change. The players that were transferred in are the red circle players, David Raya, as well as Ivan Toney, as mentioned in the previous transfer options plans. We could potentially go for another 4.5 million to 4.6 million goalkeeper instead of Raya. And Ivan Toney, we could potentially keep Mitrovic that we had in our team, and then the green player is the player that we circle player, the player that we have kept, that we could potentially transfer out if we had to go for the other option, and that could either be Almiron or that could be Bukayo Saka. The other options that we could potentially change for our lineup is if Doherty or Anderson are not going to start the match, if Patterson is likely to be back, he has got quite a decent fixture, we could potentially start Patterson if Doherty doesn't start, or if we feel that Patterson has got a better shot at getting points compared to Anderson. Currently the armband for Game Week 14 is none other than Erling Haaland. At this stage, the match against Leicester, it is the first kickoff of the game week. That is the only consideration that might sway us against Erling Haaland. However, he is Erling Haaland and it should not really make a difference. However, there seems to be often matches that kick off early that are not very high scoring. The vice captaincy currently is on Mo Salah. The other option that we could consider that could also be a reasonable option but is probably a bit punty is Ivan Toney. Most likely we'll be leaving it on Erling Haaland. However, this will again be a late decision subject to team news, team developments, etc. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. All the best for Game Week 14. Until next time, cheerio.